In this video, we are going to go over something that you often see in two-blank text completions, and that is back-to-back blanks. As you see here, this blank is pretty close to this blank. The reason why these can be tricky is because sometimes the sentence starts out with the blanks and you have absolutely nothing to go on. And other times you speed through the sentence reading and you get to the blanks and you kind of forget to look for the clues, which of course would come at the beginning. So always read slowly, looking for those clues or keywords to help you figure out the blanks. You should also figure out what the relationship between the blanks are. So let's read the sentence. Methodical and focused, Bach had little tolerance for disruption. He did not like disruption. The more blank his life became, the more his ability to compose blanked. So we've identified the keyword, but now let's look at the relationship between the blanks. The more unpredictable his life became, the more his ability to compose diminished. Notice he had little tolerance for disruption. Or the more orderly his life became, the more his ability to compose improved. That's the gist of it. Now, we want to go here and look at the answer choices because we don't really know which one it is. For the first blank, we have fleeting, hectic, and celebrated. Fleeting just means short-lived, not around for a long time. We want something that talks to the keyword of disruption. So the more chaotic his life became, or the more orderly his life became. We can get rid of fleeting, and we can also get rid of celebrated, which really doesn't directly get at disruption or lack of disruption the way that hectic does. And so if the word is hectic for the first blank, the second blank is going to be the opposite of that. Thrived is positive, so we want something where his ability to compose was actually not thriving, but the opposite. Evolved is not the opposite of to thrive or to do well, but that leaves us with the word languish. If something languishes, it doesn't do well. It kind of tapers off and goes down or diminishes. And so therefore, these are our two answers. Now this is a pretty straightforward two-blank text completion. The vocab isn't that difficult, and the relationship may be easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a more difficult one. More difficult two-blank text completion. Now, you can see that the two blanks, the back-to-back blanks, are at the very beginning, here and here. So what we want to do is we want to read the entire sentence, or the entire paragraph rather, before jumping to conclusions. So let's look. Because there are a few things that blank a scientist more than being told that something is blank, so-called pundits should be more cautious in their pronouncements. It's at this point where it's really tempting to plug in these answer choices. In fact, our eyes are kind of reading and also being drawn downwards. And I always tell people just cover the answer choices because they are meant to trap you. So you could easily say, well, because there are a few things that startle a scientist being told something, or discourage, or whatever that word is, galvanize. Any of them can work. And the same goes for the second blank. I mean, something could be mysterious or impossible, and it kind of makes sense. It could be a few of these. It could be startle, it could be impossible, it could be mysterious. You start coming up with your own interpretation of the text completion. The key is do not look at the answer choices, read the entire thing. What does it say? It says the Wright brothers took to the sky at the very time when it was fashionable amongst experts to ridicule the likelihood of human flight. It was the experts who ended up looking foolish. So, people, that is the pundits, should be a little bit more careful in what they say. In the case of the Wright brothers, these pundits or these experts were saying, oh, you can't fly. But they're saying that this at the time the Wright brothers were actually able to fly. And so we go back to these first blanks, and therefore to scientists, there are few things that really motivate them than being told that something is what? Well, they're saying ridicule the likelihood of human flight. Being told something is impossible. You can't do it. Therefore, that doesn't startle them. Startle's kind of shocked. If you're suddenly walking across the road at night and their headlights come on, you freeze, you're startled. Ah, what's that? Has nothing to do with being motivated. Discouraged is the opposite of motivated, and that leaves us with this word galvanize. And that way we can get at both of the correct answers by looking for the pertinent keywords that, again, are oftentimes towards the bottom. Mysterious, of course, doesn't work. And serendipitous, which is a tough word, means something that you find when you're not necessarily looking for it. It's one of those words that comes up a lot with science, because scientists oftentimes are studying many things and all of a sudden they happen or discover something they weren't looking for in the first place. But it's not a word that actually fits in this blank here because it doesn't match up with this idea that the experts are telling someone that, hey, you can't do this. So again, the answers are galvanize and impossible. So to recap, make sure you read the entire sentence or the entire paragraph before leaping to conclusions about the two blanks. That is, if they are at the beginning. And if the two blanks are at the end, make sure you go back to the beginning part to see what the clues are.